周本利，现任加州49选区众议员。30多年前，他随父母及家人从香港移民到美国，在南加大取得社会学和电脑科学学位。在 IBM 担任工程师期间，他考入西南大学法学院，获得法学博士学位，并在1994年开始成为职业律师。1999年，他当选蒙蒂贝楼学区教委，开始了参政的生涯。2001年到现在，他兼任洛杉矶高等法院义务临时法官。他的社区服务生涯得到社会各界的肯定，也获得了多个奖项。去年8月26号，他正式宣布竞选加州第49选区众议员。周本利说，父亲为他取名本利是源自《论语》，即为君子务本，本立而道生。周本利认为，在美国的社会生态中，民主政治为其立国之本，积极参政从政应该是在美华人的生存之道。
各位好，欢迎收看本期的天天话题。那么在今天的节目当中呢，我们非常有幸的为您邀请到了新任加州第49选区的众议员 Chau 周本利先生呢来做客我们今天的节目。Mr. Chau, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, first of all, tell us, why did you want to become Assemblyman? What was the purpose really behind it?
I think one of the major reasons for running for this position is the fact that I've been engaged in public service for a long time, and I believe that public service has been my calling for all these years. When I first started, even in high school, I began serving the public in various capacities, whether it is working as a volunteer for the Chinatown Service Center, or working for the Department of Public Social Services, or volunteering for the Superior Court as a Judge Pro Tem, or many other capacities. I've been doing a lot of volunteer work for the community. So as a result of that, this is more of a continuation of public service. And after serving as a school board member for the Montebello Unified School District for 12 years, I think that it's time for me to take it to the next level, because in the past 12 years, I've been helping with education. I've been helping with investing in the next generation, which is something that is very important to me. So because education has really played a major role in my life, it opened many doors, and it's a great equalizer in life. So I want the kids to be able to experience the same, and that's the reason I ran for the school board 12 years ago. Now, I wanted to take it to the next level by serving at the state level. And in addition to education, I also want to engage in other capacities, for example, job creation and protecting the environment, for example. And because the 49th Assembly District, which is the district that we're in, has many small business owners also. So I want to help those people out so that they could succeed and thrive.
Now, for lack of a better term, I know the campaign wasn't very pretty. How did you keep your campaign focused on integrity?
The campaign has been one of the more expensive campaigns in the neighborhood, and I'm very fortunate to have a very strong team supporting me. First of all, I want to thank the voters for having the confidence in me, because they voted for me so that I could be elected. And this team that we've had was very supportive of me and supportive of all the issues that I represent. So I'm very grateful for that. And now that the election is over, I think we want to focus in on the issues that are concerned to the constituents of the 49th Assembly District. But it has been a long campaign, and I must add. And in fact, this is one of the strenuous campaigns that I've had. I ran for the school board 4 different times, and then I ran for Congress a few years ago. So this is actually my 7th campaign, but this is one of the most toughest ones yet, correct.
So what do you think really distinguishes you from other candidates?
I think one of the major differences between myself and other candidates and my opponents, including the primary, is the fact that my background is very diverse. And as you know, I've been a school board member for 12 years, and I have some knowledge about education. And I also have been an attorney practicing in the San Gabriel Valley area for more than 18 years. And also for more than 10 years, I served as a Judge Pro Tem on a pro bono basis, serving the community with the civil cases and also small claim cases. In addition, I also worked as an engineer. I worked for IBM as an engineer and also Unisys Corporation for a combined maybe 10 years. So I have a way of finding solutions to problem. I approach problems from a very methodical and logical approach. So I think I am very analytical, I'm very methodical, and I think that's going to be very hopeful. Now, the other aspect of it is, I do have a very diverse background, as I mentioned, so I think I want to bring that background to the table and to the state legislature in order for us to find solutions to many of the problems that we and also the state of California faces on a daily basis.
Very well, Mr. Chau. So what do you think about Asian participation in politics? Because now you're elected. What's your perspective on that?
I believe that Asian participation in the political system has gotten better over the years compared to, let's say, many years ago. We didn't have a lot of legislators in the California legislature. Now we have a number of them, and you could look around to see that we are getting much better. Yet I think there is still room for improvement. For example, in this 49th Assembly District, we have, in fact, the first and only district in the state of California, at least, to have an Asian majority. The district that we currently will be having starting next year, in fact, has a 50.1% API majority who are eligible voters. Does not mean that they are all registered voters. As far as the registered voters, the number goes down to 38%. So of the 50% eligible API voters, Asian Pacific Islander voters, only 38 of them are registered. So obviously there is a gap there, so that the remaining percentage of the people can register and participate in this system. Now, just a little bit of background. Every 10 years, I'm sure that the viewers understand that we have a census. The United States conducts a census to find out how many people actually live, where they are. And as a result of the census, the state will redraw the lines for the districts, for example, for the legislature and also for other districts. Now, for this particular census, which was conducted in 2010, we have done the redistricting, what they call the redrawing the lines, and this was done by a 14-person redistricting committee composed of regularly ordinary citizens. They are the ones who actually took the numbers and redrew the districts the way it is. Now, for this particular district, it is carved out in such a way that it has 50% plus containing API eligible voters. And that is the first time, like I said, that California has had an API majority district. And so that is why it is so important that Asian Islanders, or just every person has to participate. Just a case in point, not long ago, the city of Rosemead, the local election was decided by one vote. By one vote.
Just one vote.
One vote. So that tells you the importance of the voting process.
Right.
And in fact, if you go back a few more years, the city of Temple City, in a local election, city council election, it was a tie. So the two contenders actually had the same number of votes. So what they ended up doing was they decided the election result with a flip of a coin.
Wow.
So that tells you how close elections could be. So that's why I want to encourage the viewers to really participate in the political process, because their voice really counts. And that is one message that I want to get across. And just want to cite one more phrase, and that is, some of you may know the name Norman Mineta, who used to be a Congress member and who also was elevated to the secretary position with the presidential administration. Now, Congressman Mineta said one thing. He said that if you are not at the table, then you're just on the menu. What that means is that if you are not really at the decision-making table, then you are letting other people to make decisions for you. which is something that we do not really desire, because if we want to be a part of the system, then we want to be at the table making decisions. We want to have our voice be heard. We want to be a part of the process, because every decision that we make will impact other people, whether it is at the state level or at the local level. For example, at the state level, we could make decisions in impacting education, impacting job creation, impacting the environment, impacting other areas that would impact the citizens on a daily basis. So the message that I want to convey is that your voice counts and your vote counts. So please be a part of the process by participation.
Right, Mr. Chau. And I notice a lot of people probably not very familiar with the 49th district and what cities does 49th district really include. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that, and also what do Assemblyman really could do for them?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, every 10 years we do have a census. As a result of that census, we now have the new 49th Assembly District. Now, the cities that are encompassed by the 49th Assembly District include the following. The city of Alhambra, city of Arcadia, city of Monterey Park, and then Rosemead, San Gabriel, Temple City, Arcadia, I mentioned, San Marino, and also portions of El Monte, South El Monte, and portions of Montebello, and a little bit of Monrovia as well. So those are the cities that are currently are part of the new 49th Assembly District.
And those cities actually have a large population of Chinese people, right?
Exactly. Correct, and it is very important in that regard, because I think this district, the new district, is very diverse. In addition to the API, the Asian population, we also have a good percentage of Latino population, and some whites and some other makeups. So that is why the district is very unique, and they have very diverse needs and concerns. So as the representative for all these cities, I will be working very hard to actively listen and find out what their issues are and find solutions to any and all of the problems that we face.
Very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Chau. Thank you for sharing with us. 那我们先休息一下，进入广告。广告过后呢，我们再来继续今天的天天话题，不要离开。感谢回来。那么在今天的节目当中，我们非常有幸的为您请到了新人加州第49选区的众议员 Chau 周本林先生呢来做客我们今天的节目。Mr. Chau, let's continue our previous topics.
Sure.
So I know before the break we talked about a little bit about the cities that the 49th district actually involved.
Right.
So I mean, some of the residents probably feel that there's too much local development, and some probably would like to see more development. And what's your perspective on that?
I think as far as development, I think it's a fine balancing act. I think on the one hand, if you have a lot of development work, obviously you're going to have more jobs, we create more jobs, and then that will bring more growth to the cities. And on the other hand, if you have overdevelopment, that's going to cut into the environmental issues. So I think as far as development issues are concerned, it has to be a fine balance between overdevelopment and underdevelopment. So I think when it comes to that issue, we need to look at the data, I think number one, and then number two, listen to what the community has to say. So when we find solutions, we have to combine those two. We have to look at hard data, for example. We'll look at the area itself to see whether there is overdevelopment in terms of, let's say, density or other factors, and then we have to look at the impacts to the environment also. And then obviously we have to listen to what the community has to say. So a combination of all those factors we need to look into.
Right. And also I wanted to ask you, what are the current issues that are really impacting the Chinese Americans right now?
I think as far as the issues are concerned, I think the Chinese American and the API communities share many of the same issues and concerns as the population at large. For example, education is a common theme. Everybody wants to have quality education for their children and for the next generation. So that is why we need to focus in on education. coming from an education background, I think, I like to continue to work on that area because, as I mentioned before, education really opened many doors. And it is the vehicle by which we could help train and prepare the next generation to survive and compete in this very global economy. And secondly, education is also the driving force, also the engine that drives the economy. It helps create jobs, for example. So, for example, at Montebello Unified School District, we have built a brand new school just a few months ago, which prepares our kids not only for college, but also prepares them to select a career pathway of their own choice, which includes now hospitality, engineering, building trade, and then public service. So when they graduate, they could actually launch a career or job of their own choosing. So we are actually providing education and job creation at the same time. So this is something that I like to take to the next level, which is at the state level, to tie the two together, because education really drives the economy and drives jobs creation. So that's one thing that's very common theme to everybody, including Chinese or any other ethnic groups or race. And obviously everybody wants public safety. We want to live in an environment which is safe for us and for our family to grow. So we need to focus in on the public safety issue. We need to work with the local agencies, for example, to make sure that we provide a very safe environment for them to grow up in, for the kids, and also for them to live in. As we say, your home is your fortress. That's something that we, so when you come home, so you want to feel safe. So public safety, I mentioned education, job creation, and also, creating good jobs for everyone. That's a priority, obviously, and the environment. I think that's also a common theme. As I mentioned, we want to have clean air, clean water, open space. Some of the viewers may recognize the fact that the 49th Assembly District is actually sitting on top of many Superfund sites, in that many of the water has been contaminated. So in order for us to provide clean water, we have to continue to clean up the water. Get rid of the contaminants that are contained in the water. For example, methyl iodine or perchlorate, those are the chemicals that are contained in water. So one of the projects that has been going on is to clean up the underground water to make sure that we have clean drinking water. So in addition to the environment, drinking water, transportation is another issue that's very important to all of us. For example, we want to have very easy transportation means, and there's been talk about the freeway system, the congestion, and all that. So those are some of the issues that are common to Chinese and also to the population at large. Obviously, for the Chinese community, there are other for example, very specific issues. For example. And for example, college, how do you get into college? And there's talk about the quota system, and that's very unique to the Chinese system, Chinese population, excuse me. And also, immigration is another issue that impacts Chinese population as well. So, and some of them are at the state level, and some of them are at the federal level. For example, the quota system for the H-1B, for example, which will impact many Chinese Americans who are studying here and trying to get work permits, H-1s and things like that. And particularly, there are other immigration issues, for example, EB-5, those are investor visas that are impacting Chinese Americans, let's say at the federal level, because that's immigration law. So, but they will have some direct impact to the state level, and at the state level, we have some ability to work with some of these side issues. But those are some of the issues that I believe are common themes to the Chinese community and also to the community at large.
Right. Actually, these issues are very, very important to us, and there seems, to be a big concern for us because we know that, Chinese Americans are largely under-engaged in political process, and people have really brought up that there's little awareness among residents about what is actually happening in the local government, and what are some of your ideas just to improve that part.
I think in order to improve or to increase the political awareness or the participation, I think we need to have a process by which we want to communicate and educate the population so that they learn about the political system and learn about how important it is for them to be a part of the process. And I think it's a team effort. I think it's incumbent upon, let's say, the elected officials, such as myself, and also the public media, for example, and to work together in conjunction to get the message out to the population out there, to make them aware of the importance of participation, and then that their vote count and be a part of this mainstream culture, and so that we could actually build a coalition to forge ahead. So I think that we could also communicate that to the younger generation, students, college or high school, and get them involved when they're young, so that they become a part of the process. They become knowledgeable about how the system works. Because we live in this country, and the system is there for them to utilize, basically. Right. They are part of the system, and system is part of them. So if they involve themselves more, then they could actually see the fact that their voices are being heard and they're being part of the political process. And I think over the years we have seen a lot of improvements, whether it is in the various branches of the government. For example, in the executive branch, we see people getting ahead, and in the judicial realm, we have judges who are actually, being appointed as Supreme Court Justice. For example, in California, we have 3 Asian Americans on the bench right now. This is at the highest level of the judicial system. And then we obviously have the elected officials, which are part of the legislative branch. So the 3 branches, we are seeing a lot of changes. We're seeing a lot of improvements over the years, and I think that's a great trend. I think we need to continue that trend and continue the education part, continue the communication part, and we want to make sure that we're all part of this system.
Right. Political involvement is actually very important for us, but it seems like a lot of Chinese residents, they probably feel like voting is so far away from them. What's your message to them? The message is
voting is very important, because that is the way for every one of us to voice our concern. It is part of the system, part of the American system, that we need to be express. We need to express to the public that we actually are part of this American culture. So participate and be a part of it. Stay very active, no matter who you are, because it counts. Your vote counts.
Do you recommend career in public service for young people?
I strongly urge the younger generation, particularly, to engage in the political process. I would encourage them to participate in a sense that find something that they like doing. Public service is actually a very, very respectable career and profession. I call it my profession and my goal, and it is only in America that a person like myself, who started out in this country as a busboy, can actually get to run and succeed in running for the state legislature. And that is something that indicates that the American dream is well and alive. So I want to encourage everyone out there, particularly the young people, to really work hard, to really be a part of the system, whether it is doing some volunteer work or be a part of the voting process. That's start number 1. And then just do volunteer work, for example, for legislators, and get an idea as to what it takes to find out whether this is something that they like doing. And if it's something that they are passionate about doing, I encourage them to stay the course. Do not give up. Stay very focused, because as I could tell you, as I could attest to, if you work hard, you stay with it and stay focused, you're going to succeed. So set your goal high, and then the sky is the limit.
Right, let's start off with the young people today. Thank you so much, Mr. Chau, for sharing all this with us. And we know you have a very busy schedule and really appreciate your time.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
那同时也非常感谢各位的收看，我们下期同一时间再见。